CMIS is the last thing that I want to talk about before I do questions and answers. What is CMIS? You guys could Google it later if you'd like. I'll tell you what it is. It's basically a specification that's come out that many people are behind. And I'll tell you, Nuxio's behind this, Alfresco's behind this, Microsoft is behind this. Amongst others, Day is behind this stuff. And Microsoft with SharePoint, for example, Alfresco with their product. And what this allows is any CMS to be able to talk to another CMS in a way and in a language that makes sense. It also allows you to pull or query any object out of dotCMS to be used in another system. And it all is RESTful. And so technically what that means is basically you can do it through a URL. You pass a URL and it'll return to you an XML file of the data that you're asking for. Now, CMIS is, again, it's an open source, it's an open specification that huge players are behind. IBM, Microsoft, Nuxio, Alfresco, just to name a few. This is the answer to, but I need my SharePoint to integrate with dotCMS. dotCMS is great for building websites. We all know SharePoint is not the system that you're going to get to build your web applications in. And for those that have tried, they end up, usually it doesn't end well. Or they end up having to get another system to run on top, and then you end up trying to integrate dotCMS or some other web framework on top of it. This is the answer. dotCMS can now integrate with SharePoint via CMIS. Let me give you an example of a demo of CMIS. What I'm using here, what you're looking at on my screen, is a CMIS client. It's downloadable. In fact, I got this guy from it's hosted on Google's projects. So this isn't something we've written. We've just made dotCMS respect the specification. You have to log in. Okay, now I'm logged in to my local dotCMS here, and it gives me some preliminary info on it. Here you can see the different types of stuff that you can either query or get info out of dotCMS. And here you can see we've even exposed the browser, if you would. You can down click here, you can click an application. You can see here's the pages that belong there. It's possible to click these pages. You can get the actual content stream for these pages. All of this can be done remotely. This guy just is delivering XML. So essentially, you could do this from PHP, some other Java application, Ruby, VB, whatever your heart desires, it's going to deliver you an XML. All this GUI is doing right here is taking that XML and displaying it for us. But it's possible to get content. You can click on this guy, and he would give you an XML representation of the metadata of this guy, and you can even then click a link and get the stream of him. So the stream of the file, the actual binary file, or the stream of the HTML page, for example. Another really cool piece here is it allows you to use basic SQL 92 syntax. And I know this is potentially a little technical for some of you guys that are here, but so we're only going to spend a minute here. But it allows you to use basic SQL 92 syntax to query dotCMS objects. For example, I can select star from folder here, and what this does is this pulls for me all of the folders that are inside of dotCMS. For example, I can click on the home guy here, and it shows me what's his host inode, is he show on menu, what's his inode, what's his path, what's his title. So you could get this to start pulling information out of dotCMS in a SQL kind of manner. We could even pull from content. So we could say news item. This is the content news item. I select star. You can see I have two pieces of content. I could say now where live equals 1, meaning where live is true. And now I only pull those guys. And this could go on and on. You could go more complex queries here. Here you can see the body of this guy, the mod user, the date, the title, the image, is he live or not, the structure inode. You can get all the data on this guy. So this is a huge answer. There's always been ways to do this. You could build a template in dotCMS and create a page, and you could kind of emulate getting a RESTful web and build the XML there. We even have XML tools that allow you to do that. And you can build your own RESTful web service that delivers content using a pull content, and you just deliver it based on the URL that's hit. But now there's actually an official open specification for CMSs like us, like SharePoint, like Alfresco, and not that they are in the web CMS category. They're not. We're more of a web application framework, but this allows different CMSs. Even though we have different functions sometimes, this allows different CMSs to communicate with one another. And again, this is the answer to how do I get dotCMS to communicate with SharePoint? How do I get whatever external thing to easily integrate here? Well, this is a way that you can do it. And again, it's all RESTful. You just hit URLs, and those URLs deliver you XML. You read your XML. This is how it's done. It's very, very cool, very, very for the most part, for what it's doing, it's pretty simple. Okay, what I'd like to do now is, and we're about out of time, and I'm not going to share any more features. There's certainly more to look at. There's a ton of stuff in 1.9 coming out. We are going to be releasing later on. In a little bit here later on this month, we're going to be releasing a preview release, if you would. Consider it an alpha beta release. You could consider it beta in that, again, it's feature complete. Usually alpha means features are not done, but it's really early beta. It's like late alpha, early beta, and it should be treated as such. It's definitely buggy. We're releasing it with many known bugs, but it's not for your live environment, but it is for you to download, play with. You could try to upgrade your site, see what happens, do it locally, do it in a test environment, or just download it and play with it. We're going to try and get the EXE out there for it, and in that respect, maybe it'll be really easy to just bring it up on, say, a Windows machine, get it up and running. And in this respect, tinker with it, see what you think, report bugs as you find them. We'll be glad to take a look at all of them. Again, we're going to be spending a lot of time here on bug fixing and QAing and hardening the 1.9 release. I'm going to start going through the questions here, so give me 1 sec to pull up your guys' questions. Someone had asked, how about the multilingual UI in French? Again, it's not difficult to do. If you're interested in the French one, I'd be more than willing to send you the files that need to be translated. It's really as simple as it's a text file with a bunch of codes to the left, which you don't change, and it has an equal sign, and to the right of the equal sign, you change those values. You would need to translate those. We don't have someone who's translated into French yet, but we'd love to have it. So it's pretty simple to do it. That's the advantage of what we've done in internationalizing the back end. It's as simple as translating a file now to provide a new language. So the nenext question was, any changes on the dictionary, working in multiple language, and adding a new variable in 1.7 is painful. The language variables have had a number of improvements to them, and you can see here it's very, you can add new properties here. It's very Ajaxy. It's going to get this still needs some cosmetic changes with what's happening here, but yes, you think you'll see some improvements for sure in 1.9 regarding this guy. Actually, Enterprise has, for what it's worth, post 1.7, I mean, Enterprise has a number of fixes here that are actually lacking in the community code. Those fixes will make it into 1.9 as well as some other improvements. The next question was regarding, I believe this was regarding the forms. It says, are email addresses entered as hidden fields for the form visible in the HTML source code, or are they stored in the velocity variables encrypted first? Great question. I believe what he was after here is, are we displaying the email fields in the HTML, meaning our bot's going to be able to pick them up and so forth? Great question. Absolutely, they're hidden. In fact, it's better than encrypted in that it's only server side. The emails don't make it into the HTML form at all. because when you submit the form, our guy on the server end is aware of what form's being submitted, and he knows what email addresses that needs to hit. So there's absolutely no need for us to display the email addresses in the HTML. So it's even better than obfuscating them in the HTML. They're not even in the HTML. It's all server side.